Howdy, hi, and hello everyone. Come on in, take a seat, get a blanket if it's cold out. What kind of drink would you like? Hot chocolate? Hot tea? Something warm? Are you all nice and cozy? Welcome to my nest, Noah's nest to be exact, where I will be bringing you in, letting you get all warm and cozy while I discuss the different classes and the beginnings of D&D. How's everyone doing? How's your seat? You in the middle of work? And that's fine. Or are you at home, relaxing? This episode, we're going to be discussing the fighter. The basic beginner class that everyone discusses about, where it's pretty much just a normal knight, a person that is trained in all types of weaponry, all types of armor, weapons. They are just the main fighting class. Get it in the name? No, okay. As usual, I will be going through each of the levels, and then we will go into the different subclasses or archetypes. First two things you get are fighting style and second wind. Fighting style is where you get to choose a type of style to be specialized in. That could be archery, defense, dueling, protection, great weapon fighting, and there are many more in the optional area. The next one is second wind, where you can use your bonus action to regain hit points equal to a d10 plus your fighter level. At second level, this is where you get action surge, where you can take an additional action during your turn. At third level, you'll get to choose your subclass or martial archetype, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Next, ability score improvement. You get that at 4th, 6th, 8th, 12th, 14th, 16th, and 19th. They get it a bit more often because they're a more well-rounded class. And you can either increase one ability score by 2, or increase 2 ability scores by 1, or, last but not least, you can get a feat. At 5th, 11th, and 20th level, you get extra attack. This is when you take the attack action. You can do it an additional time, and it increases another time at 11th level and another time at 20th level. At 9th level, you get Indomitable. This is where if you would fail a saving throw, you can just re-roll it and hopefully roll something better. It's just giving you an advantage on a saving throw, but you can only use it once after a long rest. But you get it another one at 13th and another one at 17th. That is it for the main classes. Let's go to the optional features. Level 1, fighting class style options. The other ones are blind fighting, interception, superior technique, throw weapon fighting, and unarmed fighting. They all do different things, depending on how your backstory or how you would want your class to feel would just depend on the different types. And at 4th level, you get martial versatility. This is where whenever you would level up and you would get an ability score improvement, you could replace a fighting style with a different one, or if you would know maneuvers in the Battle Master subclass, you could replace one of them, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, to the subclasses. First one is Arcane Archer. This is where instead of studying on a blade or an axe or a sword or whatever, you are focusing on archery. This is where you can imbue or find magical arrows and use different abilities or types of arrows for your battling. You could get some cantrips, learn some more skills. You'll be able to learn different shots, like a banishing arrow or a homing arrow. Your arrows could be infused with magic, where they can overcome resistances and immunities. You can curve your arrows where you can hopefully, instead of missing, reroll an attack to hopefully hit. You could have more types of magical arrows by gaining different options, or regain more arcane arrows. Next one is Battle Master. This is where you know different techniques to use with your weapon, where it can be disarming an enemy, making one of your allies attack, distracting the enemy so someone else would have advantage on the next one, and many more. You can get proficiencies in other tools. You'll get many different maneuvers. You could be able to know certain things about the enemy. You could regain those maneuvers more often, or your maneuver die can increase to like a D10 or a D12. Next is Cavalier. This is where you will specialize in mounted combat. You know how to work your way around a horse. You know how to fight on a horse or a donkey or whatever. You've trained on movement on top of a type of animal. This is where you can gain more skills and more languages. It can be harder for an enemy to take you off of the mount. It can be harder for other enemies to hit you by giving them disadvantage, or you can have advantage on certain rolls to deal more damage. You could gain more AC by maneuvering certain ways. You're able to stop your enemies completely by reducing their speed to 0. You can make enemies go prone a lot easier, or you can be able to make multiple opportunity attacks on other people's turns. Next is Champion. This is where they focus on raw power, raw strength, and want to be the most dangerous type of subclass altogether. You can get, whenever you make a weapon attack, if you roll a 19 or 20, that can be a critical hit. You can increase your strength, dex, or constitution checks if they don't have proficiency in them. You can have an additional fighting style. Your critical hits could be an 18 through 20, or you can even regain more health on each of your turns. Next one is an Echo Fighter. This one was created from the Critical Role team. This is where you are summoning another alternate timeline of yourself where they will help you. Pretty much making a double of yourself, but more sturdy, where you can make a version of yourself that follows your movements, where you can teleport from them and swap places. You can deal damage through them. You can make multiple attacks through your Echo. You can make your Echo wander off farther away and see and hear through them. You can make your Echo defend someone by teleporting to your ally's aid. You can absorb your Echo by gaining temporary hit points, or you can even create 2 of them at a time. Next is an Eldritch Knight. This is where you are now, along with fighting with a blade, you're focusing your time a little bit more with magic. You get spellcasting, where you'll learn cantrips from the wizard spell, and all of your spells will be coming from the wizard subclass. Well, wizard spell list. You'll be able to be bonded to a weapon of your choice, so if you would lose it, you could teleport it to your hand. You could cast a cantrip and then hit with your weapon. You could attack someone with your weapon and then make them have disadvantage through a spell that someone is going to be casting. You could teleport, or you can even cast a spell and make a full-on weapon attack right after. Next one is the Gunslinger. This one is also created by the Critical Role team. This is where you are not just focusing on blades, you are focusing on guns, blunderbuss, handguns, all of that. You'll be able to gain proficiency in firearms and deal more damage. You can have reduced costs through ammunition or repairing firearms. There are different types of guns that you can create or buy at lower cost. There are different types of properties that you have to follow, from reloading to exploding or even misfiring. You could get different shots by making it easier to hit enemies. You can gain an additional bonus to your initiative roll. You can repair your gun quicker if it happens to misfire or jam. You can reload your gun as a bonus action, or a critical hit can happen if you roll a 19 or 20 as long as you use a firearm. Or lastly, you could gain more damage if you hit a critical hit. And there are different trick shots that you can gain to deal more damage or to get more AC. Next is Psy Warrior. This is where you are fighting with a weapon, but it is infused with psychic abilities. You'll be able to get an additional die to deal different types of strikes, or a movement, or protection. You could gain more telekinetic abilities from jumping farther or making people fall through your mind. You'll be able to be resistant to psychic damage, or if you would be charmed or frightened, you can end that effect. You could use your bonus action to make an ally be protected a lot easier by giving them half cover. Or you can be able to cast a telekinesis spell without any components. Next is the Purple Dragon Knight. This is where you are more of a knight. You are kind of a leader of one of the knights. It says that it's restriction to the knighthood, but it's not forced. You do not have to focus on that. You could be able to do a rally call or cry, where you can regain hit points to your allies if they're within an area of you. You can gain more skills or double a proficiency. You could use your action surge to make other allies make an additional attack or ranged attack. Or when you would use your indomitable action, you can make one of your allies, if they would fail a saving throw, do the same thing by re-rolling. Next is the Rune Knight. This is where you could have been raised by giants or have done a lot of research by the giants, and you are carving runes to imbue different things, where you can learn a new language of the giants or gain a different proficiency in some tools. You'll get to learn different carvings from different types of giants, like a cloud or a frost or a hill giant. You'll be able to become a size larger, have better strength or saving throw checks, or even deal more damage through an unarmed strike. You can protect your allies by making the attacker re-roll a new roll. You can grow even more and deal more damage. You can use more carvings more often, and you'll gain them back a lot easier. Or you can even deal more damage and increase your height even more. And last but not least is Samurai. This is where you are focusing on the fighting spirit to overcome enemies. Your resolve is unbreakable. You're going to die fighting and not running. You'll be able to gain proficiencies in other skills or learn more languages. You could use your bonus action to give yourself advantage on a roll and gain temporary hit points. You can gain an even higher bonus to persuasion checks. You can use your fighting spirit more times. If you would have advantage on an attack, you can take that away to deal multiple strikes. Or lastly, if your hit points were reduced to 0, you don't die. You can use your reaction to delay your unconsciousness and take an extra turn. And if you wouldn't take damage, you would stay up. That is everything with the fighter class. This class is great for beginners. It is very well rounded. You don't really have to focus on much throughout this whole entire class. If you want to go something easy, this would be a great way to start. I understand that people think that it is a fighter, it is very easy. People are very boring if they use this class. Don't listen to them. This class can be very good for anyone. It is very well rounded. In my opinion, the Echo Knight is one of my favorites. The Rune Knight is also one of my favorites. There are ways to make your background, your backstory have meaning and not just be a measly old quote-unquote fighter. In my opinion, I would rate this a 9. Very easy for anyone to play this kind of class. Very fluent, nothing out of the ordinary. It's all easy. Got a couple things to shout out. First and foremost is Hope K Thrifts. She resells trendy brands to sustain the environment in a cheap and fashionable way. Those trendy brands can be from Free People, Converse, Nike, Lululemon, and so much more. And get this, all those trendy brands are hundreds of dollars. Well, all their items that she sells is only $20 or less. So you are getting a massive, massive steal. You can find her at Poshmark, Depop, Mercari, Instagram, all at Hope K Thrifts. And get this, if you want to have a cheaper purchase, message her at code CHEAPTHRIFTS to get 10% off on your next purchase. Next one is Killer Mimic Merch. He is making designs. That is our friend Cody. He plays Ranto. He is a great friend of mine. His own company where he is making fantasy designs on t-shirts, where it's not just always a dragon or always a beholder. He is putting his ideas into the fire and making wonderful, wonderful designs for all of you. You can check him out on Facebook, Instagram, possibly Twitter, at Killer Mimic Merch. He also has his own website at Killer Mimic Merch. Go check him out. Buy his shit. It's very, very beautiful. And last but not least, it's us, Creatures and Cantrips. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, at Creatures and Cantrips. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do whatever. You're all beautiful. You're all amazing. You've all been in my home before. There's nothing else I can really say. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful evening, wonderful morning, whichever one you've listened to for this. I am gonna go finish up some things. So, you can leave whenever. If you fall asleep here, that's okay as well. Good night, good evening, good morning. Adios. Bye-bye. Oh, damn it. Hold on. Wait. Okay. Adios. Bye-bye.